here. My amplified unit, Salut! Sasha, cut my motherfucking music! Cut it! Cut my music, Sasha. Cut that shit. What up, amp unit? Top of the morning, Saturday, more early. And we're doing a Dunkin' from around the block, man. I had to have Sasha, my assistant, go and get me a fresh Dunkin' coffee because the coffee bar is out of service. The machines need to be descaled, which is an internal cleansing from top to bottom. So until that happens, the coffee bar, the coffee machines, closed, out of commission, out of service. I don't know what to do with myself. Every time I want to get a quick fucking coffee in the office studio, I gotta have Sasha go around the block and get me a fresh Dunkin' or Bucks. They're right next to each other. I got a lot of mom and pop shops around too. It's fucking New York. You got all these coffee establishments. We're good. But there's nothing like my fucking coffee bar being open. So that's the situation. That's why we have a fresh Dunkin'. And that's why the coffee bar is closed. You can tell we already had a fucking Starbucks earlier as well. I don't fucking know. I don't fuck around. It's early, but I'm already on my fourth coffee. Guys, we're going to talk SmackDown. September 9th, 2022 in just a little bit. This was a mixed show for fans. A lot of fans are saying this was one of the best SmackDowns they've seen in a long time. Right? And they love the ending. The Triple H isms with Karrion Kroos, the black and white screen. It goes black. We hear Cole screaming for help. We're going to talk all about it. Butch slowly turning into Pete Dunne, minus a little bit of those Chihuahua tendencies, I call them. Just pretty much barking at everybody. But we're seeing less and less of it. So there's some Triple H-isms, but then there's people that said, well, hold on, man. That wasn't that good of a show. There was a lot of VKM-isms, a lot of Vince McMahon-isms. I mean, this was not that far from a Vince McMahon show, and I kind of see where they're coming. I see where they're coming from. I mean, if you guys sum up last night's show, there was 2 men's multi-man schmaz matches, a 6-man, which was at least good, a 6-man, and an 8-man tag, which involved Raw superstars with no explanation. It involved Braun Strowman showing up for no reason other than to beat up 2 Raw stars. That's right, a Raw tag team just came out of nowhere to get on the mic on a SmackDown show. And then Strowman comes out and beats up the same guys that he beat up on Monday night on a SmackDown show. That makes zero sense, but nobody wants to question that. But all right. Sounds like a Vince McMahon thing to me. But also, 2 women's matches. 2. Both multi-person matches. You had a tag match, and then you had a 5-way elimination match. Number 1 contender to take on Liv Morgan. So 2 female matches, 9 participants over both matches. And both ladies' matches win a combined 7 minutes of match time. That does not scream Triple H. Triple H does not book his women like that. That's why people are saying with the multi-man schmaz matches, with the 2 ladies matches, 2 of them equaling 7 minutes, with people like Xia Li and others getting squashed in 2 minutes, people are kind of going, well, how do you figure that was a great show last night or even really good? So many Vince McMahon tendencies. We're going to go over it, man. We're going to go over it, no matter which way you say. If you think it was a great show, if you think this looked like something Vince McMahon would produce, we're going to talk all about it. First, guys, I need you guys to do me a favor because I was thinking about something literally this morning over my first coffee when I was going over the notes. Sasha made sure they were all prepped good for me. No botches in BC's notes. And it dawned on me, man, I don't know what made me think of AJ Styles. But you guys need to do me 2 favors, actually. Number 1, you should already smash that up. Smash that motherfucking up. Help the algorithm out because the tube never wants to help BC, never wants to put me up in the recommendations. I'm too controversial, which is code for I don't sugarcoat shit, I don't bullshit. I give you guys truth nonstop, and sometimes entities don't like that. So you guys can help out by just smashing that fucking up and making sure that BC stays up on the fucking up and rocking on the fucking platform. So you guys absolutely rock. Give it a fucking Ric Flair chop. Give it a fucking some sweet chin music, but give that like button. Give it an amplified power bomb, a Batista bomb. But make sure you smash that shit. The second favor I need from you guys is a little bit of a poll down below. I just need you to drop me one name because I was thinking of a dream match with AJ Styles. And when I think of AJ Styles and dream match, I always thought of Shawn Michaels in his prime. HBK versus AJ Styles. However, we always ask ourselves that question. I came up with something different today, man. I thought of Bret the Hitman Hart. So I need you guys to do me a fucking favor. I want to see where my unit's in on this because I haven't come to a conclusion yet. Bret the Hitman Hart in his prime versus AJ Styles in his prime. Who wins? 60-minute Iron Man match. Let's raise the stakes, make it more fun. Bret Hart in his prime, basically WrestleMania 12-ish. Let's pick that Bret Hart. Even though he lost that match against HBK, that still went not only 60 minutes, but it also went into sudden death. Anybody could have won that match. Bret Hart just came up on the losing end. But other than HBK on that night, not many people were beating Bret Hart around that time, realistically. So that type of Bret Hart in his prime versus Styles, Styles is just a couple years after his prime. Styles is still one of the best wrestlers in the world. But when you think Styles prime, maybe a few years ago, like that Styles versus Bret the Hitman Hart, who do you guys have as the winner? Just drop down right below, man. Just put down one name. Bret Hart, AJ Styles. And I kind of want to take inventory. I want to see what you guys come up with. So, two favors. Obviously, smash that up. That should always be a given. Every time you click on a BC video, smash that up. But also, give me that name, man. That's a fucking dream match. I'd pay triple, quadruple to see. Let's move on to Smackdown, September 9th, 2022. Let me give a swig first. Let BC get a big swig first, man. Because we're going to start off with a schmaz. All right, so 6-man tag starts the show. It's just Sheamus, Butch, and Holland versus Imperium. Now, Butch is basically Pete Dunne now, just without the name, and again, as I aforementioned, still with Chihuahua tendencies. And what I mean by that is you guys have seen Chihuahuas before, those little fucking dogs, and they just fucking bark up your fucking leg, and everybody and everything that comes around, even near them, 100 fucking yard radius, they're blah, blah, blah. Ankle biters is what I call them. Chihuahuas, right? That's what Butch comes across. He doesn't seem like he's an amplified, like fucking riled up human being. He comes across like he's a fucking Chihuahua, and I'm going to need that dude to relax. I'm sure a lot of you guys felt the same way, man. Just bring back Pete Dunne and let him just be a badass bruiserweight. Let him be a kick-ass machine. So once we get rid of those Chihuahua tendencies in full, we're basically going to have Pete Dunne back. I'm not a fan of the name Butch. That was, and when I think of that, if you're an old school fan, you're thinking the Bushwhackers anyway, right? Luke and Butch, the Bushwhackers, one of my favorite tag teams from back in the day. I don't know if they've ever held the championship, believe it or not. They've had a multi-year run in WWF back in the day, one of the most popular teams in WWF history. But I don't know if they've ever held the championship. Perhaps you guys can let me know down below if I'm not able to do the research today. But I will eventually, because now that's going to make me think. Have the Bushwhackers ever held the WWF championships? If so, it wasn't that many times. Maybe once for like a week. I don't recall. That's interesting. The things I think about this month: Bret Hart versus AJ Styles, the Bushwhackers. Have they ever held the championships? That's criminal that they haven't, if that's the case. But that's what I think of when I think Butch, you know. And it's just like, well, I don't need another. I need another Butch, like I need another Doink the Clown. I don't. If the original Doink wants to be Doink, all right, but I don't need another Doink. I need a Butch like I need a fucking fake Big Daddy Cool Diesel. We know how that turned out, or a fake Razor Ramon. I don't need another Butch. I do hope. We're talking about people getting their names back. Theory getting Austin back. Ciampa getting Tommaso back, Riddle getting Matt back. Well, I hope Butch gets Pete back. I know it's just a name to you guys, but a name is big. I don't see Gunther getting Walter back. I think that's pretty much where they're headed, and he's so established already now on the main roster, or getting to that point. I don't know if you want to fuck with people even more and bring them back to Walter. Let me know how you guys feel about that. But, I mean, if you're in charge, would you change Gunther back to Walter now? And if so, aren't you now confusing your casual, because WWE has a lot more casuals than any other wrestling promotion? Aren't you really fucking with people at that point? I don't know, man. I'm sure a lot of you guys would still turn him over to Walter. But Butch, come on, bro. He's not established yet. I'm pretty sure most of the audience, most of the crowd doesn't really give a damn. You can make him Pete Dunne. All right, that's my side rant. Let's keep moving on. You guys know BC is not a fan of six-man schmazes. I'm just not. But this was a hard-hitting physical match, not just because you have Pete Dunne in it, but how about the former rugby player Holland, which I still think he's greener than Lambeau Field grass for the Green Bay Packers. He just still is. He still has a lot of work to do. Not shade, just facts. But you have Gunther and Sheamus back in there, bro. Gunther and Sheamus just banging it out. And anytime you have those two entities, whether it's 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 12-on-12, whether BC likes the schmaz or not, those two are going to fucking bring it to the forefront and raise that crowd's expectations and anticipation. And that's exactly what happened for the hot crowd last night, because that crowd was hot for Sheamus especially. And Sheamus is on this... I mean, these are like two heel teams, correct? Holland and Butch... And Sheamus is kind of in that middle ground right now because of the response he got over in Cardiff, Wales for Clash at the Castle. So that was a weird mixture. And of course, Imperium is absolutely heels. So you kind of, even though you had heel versus heel for the most part, the crowd was still hot for it, and they were really behind Sheamus, man, like tenfold. So that's a plus, right? Even though I don't like six-man schmazes because there's too many of them today. In fact, AEW has a fucking trios division now. I mean, so it's an easy way for a company to not give a fuck, throw a bunch of people into the ring at once, and just say, here, eat up time. And that's what happens a lot of times, guys. That's why I don't like multi-man schmaz matches. It lets the promoter off way too easy. Once in a while, absolutely. Back in the day, we had six-man tags. Hulk Hogan and the fucking Demolition versus the Big Boss Man and the fucking and maybe some more Bobby Heenan family. You know, you would see them, but it was spread out. Nowadays, I mean, you'll be seeing a couple of schmazes every single show. Can we ease it back? Can we pull it back so it feels special again? That's all BC's saying. If you guys love these type of matches, that's awesome. So what I'm saying is to love it even more and to get us, the rest of the fan base, to be on board with these matches, maybe have a little bit less of them so they're more important. I'm just asking. Just asking for the other side of the fan base, like BC, that wants to feel something for these matches but doesn't usually. But what I loved about this match also is it was an actual tag match. And what I mean by this, I know it's SmackDown. I brought up AEW a minute ago. I don't want to compare this to AEW, but because I've been talking a lot about AEW tag matches, especially six-man tag matches, and especially because AEW now has a trios division, I have been urging that company, urging Tony Khan, especially this last week, to slow it down. Tony Khan needs to tell these wrestlers, it can't just be Dustin, because Dustin already came public and said he's telling these wrestlers to slow it down, use in-ring psychology, sell more, slow down the pace, let the audience really care about it by becoming invested and not just an ooh-ah circus spot fest. Dustin is trying to tell them, I'm sure Serena's trying to tell them too, but the ladies don't do it as much. But, the old schoolers, they're trying to, like, how do you really connect even after the match to have people go, damn, that was fucking incredible, or I can't wait to follow this storyline? Well, you have to tap into what makes pro wrestling, man. The psychology of it, right? The selling of it. Sell what you're doing. You're not giving anybody time in these spot fest matches. So I've been urging Tony Khan, just like Dustin Rhodes and all of them, slow it the fuck down. If only for just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's all I'm asking for. Just a little bit. Slow it down a bit so that fans like BC are not watching these matches getting nauseous by trying to fucking keep up with this shit. By trying to, I'm trying to crack a code when I watch an AEW trios match or a six-man. I'm trying to crack a code to find out who's the legal man. I never know. When I'm watching an AEW tag match even, I never know who the legal man is. Literally, I never know, guys. It's cracking the fucking... It's the fucking Da Vinci Code. It's like cracking the code for Fort Knox. So even if for just a little bit, not only are they just spot fest matches on a trampoline, the ring just becomes a trampoline, but the rules, and I've been saying this week so many times, so for my tried and trues that watch every vid, sorry, not sorry, I have to say this again, there are no rules with AEW tag team matches. The referees enforce 0 tags. None. No tags. They don't fucking enforce anything. The referees sit in the corner and twiddle their thumbs is what I always say, because it's basically what they're doing. Every 6-man tag in AEW is tornado rules. There's only one problem with that. It's not tornado rules. It's supposed to be an actual 6-man tag match. It's a trios division. The last I checked, that's not under tornado rules. But that's what AEW 6-man tags are. WWE tag matches are actual tag matches, right? The participants in a WWE tag match, they actually hold that little white rope in the corner. A lot of you guys don't even realize that, or you've never noticed it. There's a white rope in the corner, and you hold it. You're supposed to anyway. So not only are you supposed to be in the corner, you're supposed to hold that rope. Now, most of the time, these WWE wrestlers, they actually hold the fucking rope. How cool is that? They stay in their corner until legal tags are actually made. What a fucking concept that is, huh? They actually wait till the legal tag is made, for the most part. Like, even at the end of this match, the final minute, it gets chaotic, obviously, and you get all 6 dudes fucking doing crazy shit. Not flips and dives, necessarily, but all 6 dudes in there. I understand the last minute, you kind of let the fucking... You let the boys out of the yard, right? You open up the gate. I understand that. But for the most part... White rope in your corner, wait for the legal tag, and you just put on a wrestling match. You let the fans actually become invested. And this was done so beautifully with people that we want to see banging out like Sheamus and Gunther that fans were into the match. Fans were hot during that match, for the most part anyway. But they hold on to that shit. They stay in their corner until the fucking... that legal tag... is made. And I understand, guys, different strokes for different folks, right? Some people have attention spans of a 10-second Tom. You guys know what a 10-second Tom is? Well, that's today's fucking wrestling fan. The attention span, they just want to see fucking spot fest matches. They want to see gymnasts on a trampoline, not pro wrestlers in a wrestling ring, and they're okay with it. When the match is done, they're like, let's do it again. Who's next? They don't even give a fuck about what they just saw. They're not going to remember what they just saw. I said this in yesterday's video, actually, and I'm going to repeat it real quick. When I think of matches like British Bulldog Bret Hart from SummerSlam 91, which has been hot and heavy in the news because they just went back to Cardiff. They went to Cardiff, Wales, back in the UK, and everybody was talking about that Bret Hart Bulldog match. Do you guys know that BC remembers most of that match, if not all of it? Like the sequences, move for move. I remember that shit. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels went over 60 minutes in the sudden death at WrestleMania 12. I remember most of that match, sequence by sequence, move by move. Warrior, Savage, WrestleMania 7. I remember that shit for the most part. Even Punk Cena from their rivalry right before Punk was exiting. That's when Punk was red hot after the pipe bomb. I remember that, not just the feud or the storyline. I remember that match. Not because it was an epic move for move match, but there was emotion and investment into it. So that's telling you something. I mean, there's no love lost between BC and CM Punk, and I never was a big John Cena fan either. But I remember that shit. There was an investment with so many, if not nearly all of the matches today. I don't remember them afterwards, and I don't give a fuck about it enough to go back and watch it. That's what's sad. Every match that I just named, I watched it at least 2 or 3 times. Most of them, I've seen it about 30, 40 times. Like if it's Warrior Savage WrestleMania 7. That's right. I'm saying an Ultimate Warrior match is a match that I went back and watched 30 to 40 times and I remember and I loved. Ultimate Warrior, who was never known for his talent or skills in the ring, but there was that connection and investment. I just wish younger fans today understood that and appreciated that. I understand it's a new era. BC, you're too old school, man. I get it. I'm saying that I would have loved if everybody just got to feel what we got to back in the day, because it's needed still. Even though it's 2022, there's a younger generation coming up. I understand. And there's different strokes for different folks anyway. People just like the spot fest because they do have attention spans of 10-second toms. It's just where we're at, right? But even so, you can't take away the fundamentals of pro wrestling, guys. You can't take away the core fundamentals that pro wrestling was founded upon. Because what happens is you start to compromise the rules. That's what you start to do. You compromise the rules. And it becomes no longer professional wrestling. It just becomes a fucking circus when you compromise rules. You watch a tag team match, you want it to be a tag team match. You want to believe that the referee has some semblance of control and that this is a real bout that you're watching. But when the referee either has no control whatsoever from start to finish, and or it looks like he doesn't even give a fuck to enforce the rules, and there's just nothing but utter chaos from top to bottom, just so every wrestler gets their moves in, gets their spots in, so the person that's receiving the move can't even sell it properly because they have to get up to set the next move up, and then they have to get up so they can set their offensive move up, even though they just took a Hurricanrana from the top rope, a 450 splash, 6 Canadian destroyers, 17 super kicks, a 450, 620, 710, inadverted Hurricanrana moonsault, somersault, backflip, 212 bomb. That's right. That's a new move. It's coming. Even though they just took all of that, they bounce back up in 12 seconds because it's their turn to deliver their move. And you know what their move is. They go up to the top turnbuckle. All the fucking other guys, all the other 5 participants, if it's an 8-man, all the other 7, they're all outside. They're all hugging each other, looking up, waiting to catch the guy who's going to jump off the turnbuckle. Come on, man. We're waiting here for 12 minutes and a hug. And here comes him. Oh, here goes a moonsault onto 6 other guys. 7 dudes. Whoa. We've never seen that before. What's that, Sasha? Yes, we have seen it 8 million times. She didn't actually say it. She's been reading this fucking book. She doesn't even care what BC's saying. My own assistant. But she knows how I feel about this shit, man. And I know she'd agree if she wasn't so deep into this fucking book. No, we're saying we love you, Sasha. That's what we're saying. When you start to compromise rules, there's an issue. And it no longer becomes about, well, BC, you like what you like. I like what I like, man. So there. It's not about, you can like whatever you want, bro. This isn't a disagreement type of a situation. I disagree, basically. This isn't about disagreement. If you love this type of shit, congratulations. You're getting it all the time, especially in AEW. What I'm saying is, why can't we appreciate and enjoy it as well? And all you have to do is tweak it a little bit. Don't do it as often. Sell a little bit more is all I'm asking. Use a little bit more psychology. Have some more storyline invested into the tag matches. Get us to care a bit more. You shouldn't be the only ones to enjoy it. We all love pro wrestling, man. You know, there's one thing about niche audiences, and you don't want anybody else to come into your niche product. But we should be able to enjoy it too. And we're just asking, hey, this can get better, and it doesn't have to compromise what you guys like. You'll still get your flips and your dives because every wrestler today basically seems like they got trained in their backyard on their fucking trampoline that their parents bought them for Christmas. You're always going to get your flips and dives. This isn't about disagreeing. You guys know I'm correct. One of the biggest things missing from pro wrestling today is lack of storytelling and care. And it's because we're just throwing a bunch of dudes into one match and going, put out a banger. It's about work rate. It's about making the fans from top to bottom, start to finish, beginning to end, go, ooh, ah, whoa, this is awesome. Fight forever. Holy shit. And then when it's done, take a breath, eat some popcorn, and let's do it again. You ain't gonna remember any of this shit. Anyway, that was my long rant. As if I haven't been fucking saying all this shit for the last week especially. Much love and respect to all my tried and trues, man. I know I'm saying this like a broken record, but I'm seeing so much of it that if BC does not speak up and speak loud about this, then we've just lost the fundamentals of pro wrestling, man. We've lost it. When you start compromising rules, this is not pro wrestling. This is a circus. I really hope that AEW especially starts understanding what a tag team match is and starts implementing rules. It's the only way fans like BC will believe anything that I'm fucking watching. This 6-man tag, until the very end, one last minute in the end, for like 60 seconds, everybody got in the ring. But other than that, everyone's in their corner waiting for their tag, holding onto the white rope. That's something that BC fucking loves to see. Tag matches acting like tag matches. Sheamus was red hot with the crowd, as I aforementioned. Imperium ends up defeating Ridge Holland in this 22-minute match. So even though Sheamus was red hot, Imperium gets the W. I love this decision. Sheamus with Butch and Holland anyway. And you know, and that's the Brawling Brutes anyway, man. This whole time I've been talking about this match, I've pretty much been talking about Sheamus like he's on his own, and Butch and Holland are a separate team. They're the Brawling Brutes together, so that's, I mean, I've been talking about them like they're separate, but that's because Sheamus has been, this is some of Sheamus's best booking as of late, going into Gunther, the Gunther match. And then, like, how red hot he was. I don't even think of him like he's in a team. So I just think of Butch and Holland by themselves. But they are still a unit, and they did get defeated. I like this. This will set the door, hopefully, for Sheamus ditching the excess baggage, lose the excessive weight, and Sheamus can maybe go off on his own. Because this is the time. The momentum is there for Sheamus, and now we just have to capitalize on that. Because this dude, I mean, he's hot right now with the crowd, and it ain't just the UK that was shown last night. But Imperium, this is Gunther's time. And Imperium just reformated together, man. They just got back together as a whole unit. This was their time to shine and make everybody, even casuals especially, look at them like they're W'ers, right? They're winners. They're not losers. This was Imperium's to win. So I like the call here. And again, this was a 22-minute match. I'm not a fan of schmazes. I don't need to see them for more than 10 minutes. And I don't have to worry because usually it's a bunch of dudes in there for 5 minutes. But this one was good. They gave them the time, so it just got better. And it was the right call in the end. And a star is being remade in Sheamus. Bloodline is out next. With Sami the Oos Zayn. That's right, that's what I'm calling him. Sami the Oos Zayn. This dude's hilarious. Sami Zayn thinking he's an Oos and calling the Usos Ooses is, I mean, I don't know how that's not an LOL for you guys. Because it is fucking legit, straight up comedy at its finest, man. Sami Zayn is just so good in this role. And him and the Usos are funny, but like him and Roman are next level comedy, man. That's the right kind of comedy. Not the 24/7 title and everybody fruit roll upping each other fucking 67 times in 67 seconds. You know, and everyone chasing each other around at catering, and it leaks out into the fucking arena and into the crowd, and Dana Brooke is being followed by a Christmas tree, which is really R-Truth. A fucking garbage can. Somebody's dressed up in a garbage can. It's actually Tozawa, who's already dressed up as a ninja. That's not comedy. This is comedy we can get into, and it actually slowly is developing a storyline here. You don't really think about it. It's subconscious because the comedy is so good. But Sami Zayn is out there with the Bloodline. They introduced the newest member in the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, the younger brother of Jimmy and Jay Uso. And damn, does he look like them, man. Damn. I mean, you do a side-by-side, man. It's, especially him and Jay. It's like, are you kidding me, man? I mean, you don't need anybody to tell you they're brothers. You just look at Sikoa and you're like, oh, that's a legit fucking, that's an Uso. So, Sikoa comes out. He says, I'm here to stay. That was the first thing he said. He goes, Solo Sikoa is here, and I'm here to stay. And he goes on and he solidifies the point. He really hits home to the point that he's not there to fuck around. He's not there just to be a fucking tool or a henchman to Roman or even his brothers. In fact, the way he was booked last night is he was taking center stage. He was in front of his brothers. So that was really cool to see. Drew McIntyre ends up hitting the ring. Drew's pissed off from what happened in Cardiff, Wales at the Clash. So Drew's got a lot of scores to settle. He knows the numbers game is not on his favor. It's 4-1. But he comes out, not with Angela, which probably would have been more effective if it's 4-on-1. But he comes out with a steel chair. Now everybody retreats at this point. Sami Zayn, Jimmy, Jay, they all get the fuck out of the ring. I love this. Sikoa? Nah. Come on, bitch. Sikoa just in the middle of the ring. He's like, come on, bro. I'm not going in. I'm not going to run away from you, dude. I just said I'm here to stay. I'm just telling you I'm not here to fuck around. And you're going to need fucking 10 steel chairs to make me fucking even step out of these ropes. And Drew is kind of looking like, damn, you really ain't going to run, bitch? Drew gets on the apron. Sikoa comes to him, bro. Sikoa's like, not only am I not going to run, I'm going to bring the fight to you. Sikoa comes to him. He gets a steel chair shot into the gut. Sikoa takes a badass gut shot with that steel chair. He doesn't fall to his feet, though. I think he dropped to like one knee. And he gets right back up. He's hunched over. He's about to take a devastating steel chair shot by Drew onto the back. Sami gets into the ring. Not his own brothers, bro. His own brothers were going to watch their younger brother get fucking baffled. It was Sami Zayn that got in the ring, pushes Sikoa, and Sami Zayn takes a devastating McIntyre steel chair shot. Now, this is significant because backstage, they were all into a little group, a little powwow. And Sikoa was talking about, because at the end of that, Drew was talking about how he wants Sikoa. Sikoa's like, you want to fight? I'll take you up on that. So the match was made for later in the night, the main event, Drew McIntyre versus Solo Sikoa. So backstage, after Sami Zayn saves Sikoa, they're in this little powwow, and Sikoa gets right in Sami Zayn's face and says, you know what, I didn't know about you before all this, but now you're the one guy I want out there with me when I'm taking on Drew. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he was alluding to. And his brothers are like, man, especially Jay, he's like, check that, man. Fuck that. What are you talking about? He still doesn't trust Sami anyway. But the fact that Sikoa is so high on Sami, even before his own older brothers, that's very telling. And I love how it wasn't his brothers that saved him. It was Sami. Down the line, guys, I don't want to see them splitting now. I mean, Sikoa needs to be part of the Bloodline, and this needs to go right into whenever Roman takes on Rock, because that has to happen. I don't give a fuck if it's at WrestleMania or not, although it kind of has to be. WWE's in a pickle. Cody Rhodes kind of has to be the person at this point. If it's not going to be The Rock in some fun way, it has to be Cody Rhodes to take the title. You would think that's WrestleMania 39 Los Angeles, but you would also think that has to be Rock Roman. I don't know how you guys think. Should Roman be taking on Cody at Mania or Roman versus Rock? I still say Roman Rock is the big money match. I still think Cody and Roman is going to be fucking nearly just as big. Just underneath that WrestleMania Rock Roman match would be Cody and Roman. And Cody taking that title, that pinnacle moment. So BC's kind of mixed on that. But Solo should not be separating from his brothers anytime soon. But remember that. Remember what happened last night, because you could do that type of storyline down the future where he feels his brothers are not out for his best interest. That could be really fucking fun, man. So I love everything about that. Solo Sikoa coming out, stamping his place in this company, talking about how he's not going to be a pushover. He's here to stay, and he's not fucking around. And he stepped up to one of the biggest dogs on the lot, Drew fucking McIntyre. And Zayn sacrificing himself on that second chair shot, showing his allegiance. And he just gained somebody big, man. You know, the Usos aren't totally supporting Sami like Roman is. But now that he's got Solo Sikoa, I mean, Sami Zayn could be the one to divide that bloodline, kind of. We end hour number 1 with Aliyah and Raquel Gonzalez versus Gigi, Dolin, and Jacy, Jayne. Toxic Attraction from NXT. I was kind of against this because I was thinking that they're not going to have Aliyah and Raquel lose this match because they have a big tag match on Monday night against Io Sky and Dakota Kai, the rematch where Dakota and Io should have won the the tournament and get those tag titles, but no, they got absolutely fucking damaged. Ironically, they're called Damage Control, and Io and Dakota got damaged on that night. A roll-up by Aliyah, that's how you treated Io and Dakota? Aliyah rolls them up in one of the weakest roll-ups I've ever fucking seen. That did not make Damage Control look good at all. They just got damaged. And so what? Are they just getting the titles 2 weeks later? How does this help anybody? But because they have that tag match, I knew Raquel and Aliyah are not going to lose this. So I'm like, I hope Triple H has something big planned for Toxic Attraction. If you're going to bring them up to the main roster and have them lose, guys, it was even worse. It was absolutely even worse. Gonzalez pins Jayne. Raquel Gonzalez pins Jacy Jayne in only 3 fucking minutes. What the shit was the point in all of this? Why would you introduce Toxic Attraction to the main roster like that? Why would you bring them up to get them squashed in 3 minutes to Aliyah and Raquel? That does not scream Triple H to BC. I'm not saying that Vince McMahon was there in Gorilla fucking writing this show or he ripped up. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you follow Triple H in the way that he books the ladies in NXT throughout the years, that was not him. Or I would hope it's not him. That was bad in every way. You can't bring up Toxic Attraction and make them absolute fucking fools. Sacrifice them. Job them out, bitch them out. Trash them. You brought them out to the dumpster and you lit that bitch ablaze is what you did to Toxic Attraction. They say they're just trying to make Aliyah and Raquel strong for Monday night. That's not the way you do it. You don't raise people up by tearing others down, dude. Never is gonna fucking work. And if that wasn't like mind-boggling enough, listen to the way we started hour number 2. Listen to this shit. Let me get another big swig because you're gonna fucking be baffled by this. There was a fatal 5-way. This is right after the end of hour 1. This was right after the ladies tag match. 3 minutes. Toxic Attraction totally jobbed out. Immediately after to start the second hour was a fatal 5-way elimination match to decide the number 1 contender for Liv Morgan's SmackDown Women's Championship. Now in this was Xia Li, Sonya Deville, Nattie, Lacey Evans, and Ronda Rousey. Xia Li is always in this situation where she's in a multi-person match and she's usually one of the first ones to be pinned or eliminated. This is not how you book Xia Li. It's not how you book any of these ladies, but Xia Li, there's so much potential there. And every time I say this, there's people like, oh, I see nothing in Xia BC. I'm sorry, man, I have to disagree. That's fine. A big part of why you're disagreeing is because they can't even fucking showcase her properly. It's not even her fault. If she just doesn't do it for you, that's fine. Then there's nothing to disagree with. She just doesn't do it for you. But she's got the fucking talent, and she's believable. She's realistic. I always called her the Brock Lesnar for the ladies. I mean, she's that fucking badass and real. There's just this realness from her. And it stems from just herself turned up. The volume's turned up. And, I mean, if you gave her a chance, she's going to show you she can go through the locker room. If you book Xia Li properly and you booked Ronda Rousey like the badass she should have been booked as, Rousey versus Xia Li in the future would have been a banger, as the kids call it. It would have been. Anyway, that's a side rant on Xia. Sonya's in there, Nattie's in there, Lacey Evans, and Ronda Rousey. That's right, Lacey Evans has been gone for fucking months. She comes back. Her new character now is like a fucking a southern, almost like a trailer trash type of a character. You know, she's coming out. She fucking shows her buns to the front row, and she slaps her buns like kiss my ass. And she's got the little fucking cut off shorts, and she's fucking like, I don't know, because somebody you'd see fucking come out of the trailer. You know what I mean? What the hell's for dinner tonight? Did you get the duck? That ain't a duck. That's a squirrel. That's nasty. That's nasty. You're nasty. Y'all nasties. Get me that duck and then get in here, Frank. I don't know what this new character is, that they're so lost with Lacey Evans, and that's what happens when you skip the fucking NXT for the most part, and you just debut her in the main roster because Vince knew she was a fucking a young blonde, and Vince thought he could fucking, I don't know, mold her maybe like a paralegal. I don't know. But here we are, and they don't know what the fuck to do with Evans, so now we have to put up with her. That's not even shade to Evans. I mean, the booking alone for Evans is what destroyed her. That's why nobody gives a fuck. The booking of it, I can't even blame Evans. Ronda Rousey has even been booked like just befuddlement on how you could fuck up Ronda Rousey and make people not give a shit. And this is coming from a huge Ronda Rousey supporter. And I'll be the first one to say, because that's what this channel is about. Fairness right down the middle. Even if I like somebody, I'm going to tell you if the booking is trash. I said that about one of my favorites, Sasha Banks, my favorite female competitor outside of Io Sky. Sasha Banks. And I said when she hooked up with Bayley and they become the boss and hug connection, when Sasha had so much momentum and Bayley needed a lot of that momentum, putting them together was not the right fucking call. And I ended up being right. There was no way they could book them correctly, nor were they going to. They never even tried. I'll say the same thing with Ronda Rousey. Just winning matches like this is not going to fucking help. You have to book them properly. AJ Styles collects more W's than L's. That doesn't make AJ Styles relevant today, and that's a shame. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world still. Alexa Bliss collects more W's than L's. That doesn't make Alexa Bliss fucking relevant or anybody giving a fuck about her. She's not involved in anything other than fucking tagging up with her actual champion, Bianca Belair, and Asuka for some reason to take on Damage Control. They have nothing for Alexa. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. How do you botch Ronda Rousey? I have no idea. They botched Lacey Evans. They botched Xia Li. Nattie has been on the fucking roster for 87 years. And nobody, I'm sure, for most of those 87 years, nobody has given a fuck about Nattie. The coffee is kicking in, and BC's getting more amplified now. That's what's happening. The no bullshit meter goes even higher, man, the more caffeine I get. Sonya Deville also, I mean, Sonya Deville's been fine. I mean, she's never been one of the best wrestlers on the female roster. She's not one of the worst. There's other issues aside from Sonya, so that's a mediocre issue for BC. Liv Morgan during this match is watching from a skybox up high. She's eating popcorn. She's almost acting like a heel. Like, she don't give a fuck. She's eating popcorn. Her feet are kicked up. She's like, hey, I don't care if you fucking boo me. And I guess that's the best option. I mean, a lot of people are starting to turn on Liv Morgan. I don't know why. Liv Morgan has been putting on her best work in her career over the last year. Ever since those matches with Becky Lynch, you've been seeing the best Liv Morgan. Everybody was on board with her getting a title, the journey. When she won it, everybody was so excited, and now all of a sudden, everybody's talking about how much of a bad wrestler Liv is. Liv doesn't do it for me. Liv is boring. Liv has changed the channel. Liv is just not has momentum anymore. What are you talking about, bro? There's a million fucking issues with that women's division. Liv Morgan is not one of them. The fickleness in fans is fucking, it's enraging how fickle fans can be. They want your journey to the top, and when you get there, they want to see you fucking fall even faster. It's fucking... There's not a word for it. There's just not. And I know, I'm a podcaster. I'm supposed to put everything into words for you guys. I don't have fucking words for that. I don't have words for this type of fickleness. I'm glad that Bryan Danielson came up with the word fickle. Okay, he didn't invent the word, but he brought fickle to the forefront of the pro wrestling world. And that's the best word we have, but it's even deeper than that, man. It's like people will turn on you the second you get the success. What the fuck? Watch her fucking prosper. You're just going to put her back into a pit of misery. And then what? You're going to be happy? And then what are you going to do? You're going to say, oh, they don't book Liv properly. This is bullshit. Why are they not giving Liv TV time? Well, fuck, because you, the fans, put her back into the pit of misery. That dropped the book, didn't it, Sasha? Sasha's got a little smile. She hears me. She acts like she's just reading. I know how you feel about Liv. I tell you, man, this is all truth that BC is smashing out right now. Now, let's get back to the match. So Liv Morgan's watching this. 5 participants. Xia, Sonya, Nattie, Lacey, Ronda. Xia Li taps out to Sonya Deville oh, no, hold on. Nattie, first of all. Nattie is eliminated in just 2 minutes into this match. 2 minutes. Nattie is eliminated from Evans. So Evans takes care of Nattie. I'm not even joking here. Xia Li taps out to Sonya Deville 1 minute later. So in just 2 minutes, Nattie is eliminated by Lacey Evans. 1 minute later, Xia Li taps out to Sonya Deville. So in just 3 fucking minutes, Xia Li, check you. Nattie was already gone. Xia Li out. Just like that. That easily. Somebody who should be one of the most badass chicks you've ever seen in pro wrestling. And in 3 minutes, she's a tool again. Now, at the same time that Xia Li is tapping out to Sonya, the same exact time, guys, simultaneously, Ronda Rousey is tapping out Lacey Evans. So that means that 3 of these ladies were out of this match in 3 minutes. The same amount of time that the tag match existed earlier, 1 match earlier, with Toxic Attraction losing to Raquel and Aliyah. That whole match was 3 minutes. 3 of these ladies were out of this match in 3 minutes. And now we're just down to 2 ladies. And that's Sonya Deville and Ronda Rousey after 3 minutes. And 1 minute later, Ronda Rousey taps out Sonya Deville via the ankle lock. So Ronda Rousey is the number 1 contender to Morgan's title in a match that was only 4 minutes long. 5 ladies. 5 ladies. In a match that included Xia fucking Li. Your Marine Lacey Evans, a badass like Sonya Deville, or supposed to be. She's got that mixed martial arts experience as well. Nattie, who's been on the roster for 87 years. Slight exaggeration, but only slight. And this whole match was 4 minutes. The only positive you can tell me here is BC, at least it lasted 1 minute longer than the tag match right before it with the ladies. What the fuck? Or as Negan would say from The Walking Dead, what the shit? This is Vince McMahon booking. 2 women's matches, guys. 2, back to back. 2 women's matches. 9 women combined in these 2 matches. The first one, 4 ladies tag match. Next match, 5-way eliminator. 9 ladies. 2 separate matches. 7 minutes of combined match time. 7 minutes. There was more ladies than there were minutes in these 2 matches. This is not how Triple H books the ladies. This is not how Triple H books the women. It's not. I'm not saying Vince was right there in guerrilla writing this thing out, but something happened here. I mean, you had, and it wasn't even just the ladies, guys. It wasn't just the fact that you had multi-man schmaz matches or ladies matches, a couple of them that lasted well less than 10 minutes. 7 minutes. But it's also the fact that the brand split was non-existent yet again with no explanation. The very next match, in fact, before I get into that, let me put a bow on this. Morgan, this does not bode well for her, guys. This is not looking too good for Liv Morgan. Ronda Rousey is coming for that ass. And I think they were going to do this at probably the Clash, and they decided they saw that Liv Morgan had a lot of people going, yeah, man, this is fucking awesome. Give her a real title reign. So they did the suspension thing, and they didn't want Ronda to get it too quick. They wanted Liv to have it for a little bit. And now, because fans have turned on Liv, added to the fact that it's Ronda, you could be seeing Liv Morgan dropping that title to Ronda Rousey in the next few weeks. I mean, that's what it's looking like. This does not look good for Morgan. So if you've turned your back on Morgan, you might get your way. Don't worry. She'll be right back into the pit of misery. Congratulations. This is not looking good for her. But up next, man, this is what I mean about this. Doesn't seem like it's Triple H booking. 8-man tag schmaz is next. Street Profits, Raw Talent, by the way. Monday Night Raw, just in this match. Just fuck it. Fuck it. Street Profits and Hit Row versus Los Lotharios and the Maximum Male Models. This was an 8-minute match. This one match was actually, even though it was less than 10 minutes, 8 fucking guys don't even get 10 minutes. And that's probably for the best. It's a schmaz. I don't need fucking 10 minutes. But how fucking crazy is that this one match eclipsed both ladies' match in match time? 8-minute match ending with Ashante pinning Mansoor after a heavy hitter finisher. Nothing to talk about here other than what the fuck, where's the brand split? Why does nobody give a fuck about it? Why are we getting no explanation? Fuck it. Aside from that, the only thing that's good, positive here is backstage. And I don't even know if this was on the show. This was a clip that was on WWE.com, man. Max Dupree is backstage in Mansoir and Massey. They're all kind of down and out from this loss. And Dupree, I don't even know what the fuck. He's LA Knight to me, man. And this is what's positive about this. He's back there and he goes something to the effect of, sometimes you got to make it through the day to get to the night. And he takes a moment to have it was like a moment of realization, a moment of clarity is what we call that. And he just walks off. Sometimes you got to make it through the day to get to the night. Guys, that could be that big teaser we've been waiting for. Could it be Maximum Male Model Agency's head guy, Max Dupree? Could he be on his way back to L.A. fucking Knight? That is best for business. And if Triple H can make a power move, make that motherfucker LA Knight and watch him into storylines, because he can deliver, guys. I promise you. One of the best things I've seen from NXT in a long time, and this was under 2.0, I believe. I think it was still 2.0 at this time, was with LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. And $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase was involved with it. The $1 Million Belt was involved. And that storyline was so much fun. That's NXT. You give this guy the fucking just a little bit of that rocket. Give him a piece of the rocket. He'll find the rest of it on his own, and he'll sail through the stratosphere, bro. L.A. Knight can go to the stratosphere. Max Dupree, his ceiling is very low. There's a huge difference between Dupree and L.A. Knight, and I think H knows that, man. So if H was locked into a bathroom, if H was fucking trapped in the basement somewhere while McMahon is fucking sneaking in a show last night, it looks like he got back just in time for that fucking tease. That was big. But as far as Vince McMahon isms and Street Profits just showing up in this fucking match, Raw Talent, it gets even worse. Alpha Academy just shows up on SmackDown. Alpha Academy, guys. Full wrestling gear. Raw superstars. Nobody's questioning it. Michael Cole's just like, oh, great, Corey, you brought these guys in, because I didn't even mention this, guys. Pat McAfee was off of commentary last night. Now, I told you guys during the day in yesterday's video what the situation is. Pat McAfee went over to College Game Day. College football season. It's going to be the next several months that he's going to be doing that. And he's not going to be doing both. At first, he says, originally, I thought I could and we would. Pat McAfee said WWE actually said maybe it's best if you just do that. I call bullshit. I think it was FanDuel that first said, well, hey, brah, we can't fuck around with WWE. You have College Game Day. We need to make sure you're there. We can have no interruption because you're stuck over the winter in some snowy town because of WWE. FanDuel gave Pat McAfee $120 million over a 4-year deal. That is the biggest sponsorship for somebody that does what Pat McAfee does. Biggest sponsorship ever. And that's $120 mil. FanDuel does so much with college football. There was no fucking way they wanted him fucking around with WWE a night before. So that's the real fucking deal on this, man. You know, FanDuel had the biggest say in this. There was no way Pat McAfee was going to say that. And so it was WWE. And I'm sure WWE was totally fine with it. Yeah, we don't want you to run yourself into the fucking ground. Your job will be here when you get back. The problem is that when something like that happens, when you go to ESPN for a show like that, they're going to see his talent even more so. And they're going to be like, we don't want to lose this guy. And they're going to try to put him on more shows. Don't be shocked if Pat McAfee, I'm not saying he's not coming back. I think he'll definitely be back after this season. But don't be shocked over the next year and a half, if Pat McAfee calls it quits for WWE. Because he has all of these other opportunities. He's always going to love pro wrestling, but when ESPN starts giving you some of that fucking banger money, and they're offering you all these shows, and it helps FanDuel, who's already giving you $120 million to put your face on everything. FanDuel Pat McAfee, they're going to have to do what's best for their business, for what's best for their careers, what's best for themselves. I'm just going behind the curtain, guys. I'm telling you guys, this is the beginning of what could be the end of Pat McAfee on SmackDown. Sooner rather than later, unfortunately. So anyway, my point is, Alpha Academy comes down, and Michael Cole's like, oh, great, you brought them with you? That's all we get, guys. We don't get why they're there, how they fucking got in the building. It's a brand split, but we're giving them time just because we don't have enough wrestlers to fill the show. What's the reasoning? Nothing. They just show up. Raw superstars. Fuck the brand split. They just show up on the complete opposite show. In their wrestling gear, they get a live mic, live microphone. They're just like, this thing on? Is this? Oh, wow, they're not cutting us off? All right, fucking open the floodgates. They're going to go back, tell everybody on Raw, hey, you can come over, man. This is a fucking circus. They just gave me a live fucking mic, airtime, red light was right on us, and we said whatever we wanted. That's what you're telling fans. Like, make this believable. You said there's a brand split. Make it a brand. If not, just announce there's no more brand split. Let's just call it what it is. There's no more brand split. Just say that, man. Then you can start marketing fucking live events, try to get more people because it's no more brand split. You're already doing that anyway. Live events have a mixture of fucking both. There is no Raw and SmackDown anymore as far as separate brands. So why act like there is? Yes, that perturbs me. It absolutely does. It should you too, man. It's insulting everybody's fucking intelligence, man. So they get the live mic, the airtime. They're in their wrestling gear. And then Braun, it gets worse, man. Braun Strowman hits the ring. That's not even shade to Braun. It's odd that Triple H, I know he was always high on Braun, but that's a Vince McMahon guy. It doesn't seem like somebody that right when Triple H takes over, that's one of the first guys he brings in, but it is. Karrion, Johnny Gargano, switches some names. Braun Strowman, that's who. Even before fucking trying to settle something with Bray Wyatt, trying to get something settled with Sasha Banks. No. Braun, come on back. That's weird in itself. But Braun ends up coming out here. He hits the ring and he completely and utterly destroys Alpha Academy. Even powerbombing Otis in the middle of the ring. What the fuck does that do for poor Otis, man? Otis is a Money in the Bank briefcase winner. And then after he won the briefcase, it totally was just mind-fucked. Brought him back to NXT, told him he has to repackage himself because he's not good enough. They take the briefcase from him, put him on Miz. He doesn't even get to fucking try to cash in. Goes into a tag team. They turn him heel when he was funny as fuck and people loved Otis. They turn him heel. Now they got him fucking just jobbing out, not even just in matches, but just getting tooled on. Powerbombed in the middle of the ring like a goofy son of a bitch. Wow, he's got so much size and he just gets tooled on so easily by the dude that's bigger than him. How does this make Alpha Academy good? Or relevant or you give a fuck? And it just doesn't make sense, man. Because that ended the segment. Braun didn't even say anything. Braun just beats the shit out of Alpha Academy and it ends the segment. What the shit, I ask? They announced on Raw this past Monday that Strowman was coming to SmackDown. Strowman said it himself, and then they advertised it throughout the week. He's coming to SmackDown to send a message. And all he did was destroy 2 Raw guys. The same guys that he destroyed 4 nights earlier, guys. He shows up to SmackDown to destroy 2 Monday Night Raw guys. The same guys that he destroyed 4 nights earlier on Monday Night Raw. And we end this segment. How... man, this is one of those times where people go, you're overthinking it, basically. Basically, don't overthink it, man. Basically, it's more fun if you just don't... You're thinking too hard on it, man. You're being too critical. You're critiquing it too hard. No, I'm not. I'm asking for the bare minimum of intelligence. What was this dude gonna do if Monday Night Raw talent didn't magically fucking expecto petroleum, some Harry Potter shit? If they didn't leave Hogwarts Monday Night Raw and they didn't show up in Diagon Alley fucking SmackDown, what were they going to do? What was Strowman gonna do if Monday Night Raw guys didn't magically appear? What was the message? What are you doing? I'm coming to SmackDown to do the same thing that I did on Raw to the same guys from Monday Night Raw. That's okay with you guys. That's entertainment, basically. This is awesome. Come on, Beasley. Come on, guys. Come on, man. Come on. There's a wrong channel for that, man. This is harsh criticism because it needs to be said. I don't care if it's a Triple H era. This needs to be fucking said. You're not going to get sugar-coated bullshit on this channel. I hope you guys can understand that and love the channel for that. I hope you're fucking listening to BC and going, but dude, you're dropping nothing but 100% facts. I can't comprehend. I can't comprehend the ladies' matches, 2 of them. Schmazes, 7 minutes combined match time. 2 men's multi-man schmaz matches. Strowman showing up with Raw Talent just to beat up their same Raw Talent that he beat up on Monday night, and that ends the segment. Where are people? I don't get the people that are saying this was such a great show. Guys, then you should have been saying Vince McMahon shows back in the day were, because I'm not seeing it that fucking crazy different last night. That's harsh truth, but I'm going over this with you guys right now. There's not been one cut since we started filming. I have not had Sasha cut this once. This has been just one run along, 1 hour plus fucking BC going off. There's been no cuts, no fucking edits. We're going over the entire show, and I'm trying to see where the greatness was. Some good parts, no question. Moves in the right direction, like P.D. Dunne becoming P.D. Dunne and not Butch. Even though he still has the name and he still has those Chihuahua tendencies, absolutely. Solo Sikoa, Gunther and Walter, even though Vince McMahon set up the original Gunther and Walter match, so I can't give Triple H that credit. They were already going that way. But the fact that we got that, I'm seeing, But guys, there's so much to not just question from last night, but absolutely say it cannot happen. Cannot happen. That Braun Strowman segment was just absolutely just cringeworthy to another level because it just didn't make any sense. Main event was Drew McIntyre versus Solo Sikoa. This was a decent back and forth, one of those seesaw type matches, what we used to call it. Gorilla Monsoon used to call it that. A seesaw match, back and forth. It was pretty fucking good. A really good introductory match for Sikoa going against one of the best in the business, McIntyre. And following interference from the Usos and Sami Zayn, Karrion Kroos hits the ring, locks his sleeper submission onto Drew. The picture turns to black and white as McIntyre is completely passed out. Scarlett also in the ring. A great visual, and it's all in that grained black and white. Some people say it's the gray screen. It's the black and white screen, and I can see the people going, I don't necessarily like this. Some of the people didn't like the red light for Bray Wyatt or the lighting effects lasting throughout the match, for instance. There's a lot of people in the community that don't necessarily like the black and white effect. You guys can let me know down below if you like it or not. I'm interested to gauge how people do feel about that, because from what I'm seeing, it's almost like it's 50-50. A lot of people don't like that. They don't want to see that all the time. And there's other people that think it worked perfectly with Kroos, and it added to the elevation of what would be a minor cliffhanger, is what we call it in the business. Minor, right? It's a small cliffhanger, but it's still a cliffhanger. He's choking him out, black and white screen, and this is the best part. The screen then fades to black, literally, man. Now, we know that Malachi is released. It's conditional, so he's going to talk to Tony if he decides to go anywhere else eventually. But conditional, unconditional, inspirational, motivational, whatever you call it, it's still a release. He could still get out of that company. His wife is in WWE, Zelina Vega. We know Triple H loves Malachi, Alistair, and we know the relationship, that feeling is mutual. I always said I think Malachi absolutely wants to work with Triple H, this time under the right circumstances and with the right push. I know that's down the future. It's into the future, but it faded to black, and it just got me thinking, Alistair and Karrion with H under the commands. Man, that'd be so much fun. But this, for last night, it had nothing to do with that. This is a different fade to black. Screen fades to black. Michael Cole is screaming with just a black screen. Michael Cole is screaming, help, somebody get help, damn it. He's out. Get him off, somebody help. Can we get help? Cole is screaming with a black screen because we faded to black and then we just go off the air. I fucking love that, bro. I love that. That's what I mean about cliffhangers. You don't have to move mountains. It doesn't have to always be the biggest of cliffhangers, but you need to get your audience to have an emotion, a feeling when the show ends, right? I always say this. It's like when you go to the movies. You go to the movies and you watch a good movie, preferably a drama or an action, and once the movie ends, you hope that it fades to a black screen, right? And if you just watched a really good movie, even if you're at home and you watched a really good movie, when it goes to the black screen and the credits slowly start to rise, if it's a really good movie, you're kind of just stuck there, right? I mean, you don't need to see a fucking 1,000 names run across your screen. Nobody needs to watch that. But you're kind of stuck watching the screen like, whoa. Maybe you look to the person like, that was good. That was a good what the and then you go back to this and you're staring at it like you give a fuck about the 1,000 names rising. No, you're just in awe. You're listening to the music. You felt something with that, right? When you watch a 2-hour show, pro wrestling, when you watch a 3-hour show, if it's Raw, right? I'm trying to tell the younger audience, that's how we used to get our wrestling back in the day, Attitude Era especially. But there would be cliffhangers, and you would end this show, and you were like, what the fuck? I have to tune in there. I don't just want to. I mean, I do, but it's not just I want to. I have to tune in next week because that was just so badass. You know, this was a smaller scale, but it was still effective. The screen fades to black. Cole is screaming for help. You know that one of your heroes, a lot of these people's fucking, especially kids, man, that's Drew, is out. And all you know, especially if you're a kid, man, you just have Michael Cole screaming for help for your hero. And we go off the air. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's what BC preaches about, man. Fundamentals of pro wrestling. It's 101. It's universal. It doesn't matter if BC's from a different generation. I'm too old school. I have to keep up with today's wrestling fan and what they love. No, I trust me, I have a good pulse. I have a pretty successful fucking channel. And I do my due diligence with pro wrestling. I never skipped a beat. I absolutely. Let's not act like I'm that fucking old, bro. Come on, dude. I was born in the 80s, not the fucking 60s. I have every wrestling fan and genre tapped. I get it. But what I try to teach every fucking generation, and I'll say this 100, well, I won't be around, but 100 years from now, if I was, I would say to any wrestling fan 100 years from now, if you love pro wrestling, you want to see it prosper and stay another 100 years, you better always keep the fundamentals of pro wrestling close to the heart. You better always keep the core foundation of which pro wrestling was built upon. You better always keep that foundation pristine. That goes for any style of wrestling, every generation of wrestling. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There are no exceptions. My name is BC Amplified, and this has been your Smackdown 9/9/21/22. Sasha, I'm a year ago. Nobody wants to go back to 2021. 9/9/22 review. And real quick, guys, I also want to talk before I know, yeah, she was ready to hit that music. I saw that. She was ready to hit my music. CM Punk. Big update on CM Punk. Might not seem that big. It's huge, actually. Not only are we hearing he did, in fact, get surgery. The original word we got was he already had surgery. And then we heard if he didn't, it's going to be within the next 48 hours. Now we're hearing he absolutely did because his own surgeon said they want to get it done now to prevent any issues that arise if he waits. So that's very real. Again, if he didn't already, it's absolutely within the next couple of days, maybe even right fucking now, who knows. But it's surgery, and it is sooner rather than later, and all signs are pointing that he already had it. That's the latest report. But even bigger than that, this is even bigger of an update, man. BC was talking to you guys about Tony Khan. How do you go about this? Suspension. Does he fire him? I mean, he easily could have fired him. I mean, what he did at that media scrum was absolute fucking trash. You can't do that. And we all want CM Punk to be dialed up to 10. We like that version of Punk storyline-wise, but you can't trash an entire company like that, man, especially when we know that it's all too real, and a lot of these talents cannot come back from this, like Hangman Page. I mean, he looked like a fucking idiot. So you easily could have fired him. I'm not saying that Tony should have done that. Some people are saying, yes, he should have been fired. Some people are saying just a suspension. But when does that suspension start, by the way? He can't start it now because he's injured. So this would be a free pass for CM Punk. The day he's cleared is when Khan has to levy the suspension, 3 months maybe, and then you're literally into the middle of 2023 for his return. They could always fuck around. They could say he's cleared in 5 months, even though he needs at least 8, and then they say he's suspended after the 5, so then after 8 he's back. So Tony Khan could easily, fuck around with this and not actually levy a real suspension on the Punk. I hope that's not the case. But what needs to happen here is that no matter what, Punk has to fucking not just be held accountable for Tony Khan's, how people perceive Tony Khan in AEW. There needs to be something huge levied against him because the roster, this is the biggest part of this update, the roster, most of the roster does not want him back into the company. That's an actual report from reputable sources, and even Dave Meltzer is reporting that. And this is a dude who is tapped into the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, right? He's always delivering their side of shit. But when you hear something like that, there's truth to it because Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have the support of most of the roster. We already know that. Most of the roster are their boys. They're all in cahoots. So if they have that much momentum, and now all the reports are saying that they don't even want Punk back, is a suspension, is that going to be due diligence justice for that roster? Are they going to give a fuck about a suspension? Do they need to see Punk removed from the company, or that morale is never going to be put back right? Is that locker room never going to be mended because Punk will always be the poison within the locker room? Because that's what everybody's reporting now. The general sense that they're getting is that the majority of the locker room doesn't even want this guy back. So what the fuck is a suspension going to do? Or time away? Is Punk going to literally come back with fucking cookies and cupcakes and individually hand them to everybody on the roster while saying a personal apology? I don't think that's going to happen. We talked about what does Ton? Who the fuck is Ton? Tony Khan. I took the T from Tony and made him Ton. Does Tony Khan want Punk back? Because he didn't move the needle all that much, to be honest. And on the flip side, would Punk want to come back? I'm sure Punk is over this as well, by the way. He wants that fucking money, though, and he's going to make sure he gets all that Tony Khan promised him, because that's just how Punk is. But now it's bigger than that. What everybody is reporting now is if the locker room is pretty much voting you out, Tony Khan has a bigger fucking issue, and Punk does. If Punk comes back, if he thought there was problems before, if Punk thinks that people didn't like him before, bro, now you're literally going to, they're going to treat him like the Miz. When Miz first got to WWE and they would kick him out. One day he ate like fried chicken in the locker room, and then JBL and them were like, what the fuck? So they made Miz get like change in fucking basements and in the hallway. They would kick him out with his stuff. I mean, could you imagine CM Punk totally being punked the fuck out by the locker room? Because that's what you're telling me. That's what we're hearing in reports. Even Meltzer, and again, you always take what Meltzer says with a grain of salt, but this info for Meltzer is coming right from Bucks and Omega. You know that. So then you say, well, BC, that's the thing. It's skewed to just their version. No, we know that most of that locker room fully supports and is friends with the Bucks and Omega. So we know that that's absolutely the fucking case. And even if it wasn't, the Bucks and Omega are going to make sure that's the case when Punk comes back. Guys, my point is, with the latest reports, this is a big, big update. Because this pretty much tells us that we don't even... Is Punk even going to come back next year, summer of next year? Does Punk even come, or is this just it? The dude's broken. He said it in the media scrum. I'm old, I'm tired, I'm broken, I'm beat up. That's why I'm cranky. I mean, what do you think it's going to be like a year from now, 2 years from now, when you're 2 or 3 years older? It doesn't get better or easier. This guy's breaking a bone every fucking time he goes out there to wrestle. He tried to fight in the UFC, and that got delayed because he fucking hurt his back or some shit. I mean, this guy is absolutely brittle as fuck, and sadly even more so, just as bitter as brittle. Or he's going to be. Does he come back? If the roster is against you, why would you even want to be there, bro? There's decisions that need to be made, and it's far outweighs and surpasses any fucking suspension. People gotta fucking have a long talk. Because you could literally destroy that company if a lethal dose of poison is inserted into it. We saw with that poison. It was labeled CM Punk, that lethal dose of poison. We saw what he already did to the locker room. He fucking broke that shit apart. The morale there lower than ever before. He comes back. You think it's going to be better? BC Amplified. Till next time, guys. Salute. Thank every single one of you, man, for smashing that up, enjoying BC's content. We're going toward an hour and a half. A lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. These Dunkin' Donut coffees hit the spot. Think, be, live, amped always. And until next time, BC, top guy, and I'm fucking out. We'll see you guys for Monday Night Raw. It's supposed to be a stacked show. The first Raw going head-to-head with a Monday Night Football. Bianca Belair is going to have an open challenge. The tag team titles are on the line for the females. Raquel and Aliyah taking on Dakota and Io. Damage control. Will the damage that was levied 2 weeks ago be controlled? Will Io and Dakota finally get their fucking moment? Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, Dominic. Big night for them as Dominic takes on Edge one-on-one. Triple H is stacking this fucking card. He's not just cowering, huddling up into a fucking ball and hiding into a corner. He's not going to hide himself into a fucking bathroom because Monday Night Football is on. No, he's going to hit back with a pretty decent show. We'll see if it is able to come to fruition, and we'll talk all about it on Tuesday morning. Maybe even for the first hour of Raw, I can be live with you guys on Monday. You never know. Stay subscribed and notified. You guys know the deal. All right, I made Sasha wait long enough. You guys know how we got to end this. Sasha, hit my motherfucking music. Top guy, and I'm out.